Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins at night in a forest, where two men are hiding. One of them hears noises, and takes his machete to check out what's going on. Suddenly, they are attacked by unknown animals. While being chased by the monster, the young man, known as Number 3, tries to escape. However, he is caught by the Mogadorian commander, who snatches his necklace, and executes him on the spot. The young man turns to dust and is lost in the atmosphere. The commander places the necklace around his neck along with others, suggesting that this young man is not the first victim. Shifting to John Smith, or Number 4, who is having fun in the ocean with his friends. That evening, he goes swimming with a girl, and his leg begins to glow, forcing him to scream in pain. He also sees Number 3, who warns him of an impending danger. People see the scene, and record John behaving strangely, mocking him as a freak. John wakes up on the beach, and is joined by a man named Henri. Number 3 and John are young people with superpowers, and each of them has a protector who must do everything to protect them from mortal danger. Henri, his protector, notices the wound on his leg, and realizes that Number 3 has been killed. As a result, he quickly takes John and departs from the coastal cottage, destroying all photographs with his friends before departing. During the trip, John states that he and 8 other gifted children with superpowers escaped from the planet Lorien, after it was invaded by the Mogadorians, or Mog, the bald aliens seen earlier. Since the Mogs must kill the children in ascending order, the scars on his leg indicate that numbers 1, 2 and 3 have been killed. Now John is the enemy's next target, and Henri gives him a new identity, adding that he must remain hidden. They decide to move to an old house in Paradise, Ohio, for safety. There, he comes across a poster of a football star named Bernie Kosar. A small lizard secretly follows them to the house. Henri tries to completely eliminate John from social media, so that the Mogs cannot track him down. Suddenly, the two are startled by a strange noise outside the house. The lizard turns into a dog. John chooses to keep him, and gives him the name Bernie Kosar. Initially, Henri is against the idea, but John says it is just a dog and shows no threat. Later that evening, Henri sneakily hides a mysterious box inside a wall clock, unbeknownst to John. It is a box for John, left by his father before he died, but John will get it at the right time. Meanwhile, Number 6 arrives at the bungalow to look for John, but finds no one. She decides to burn it, and after an explosion, the girl turns out to be fireproof. The next morning, John changes his mind and insists on going to school. He swears to be inconspicuous, so Henri hands him the phone and reluctantly lets him go. When he arrives at school, the dog has followed him there. While waiting for his school schedule, he notices Sarah, who is in the principal's office, because she has secretly photographed a teacher in the classroom, and he feels attracted to her. The administrative staff orders Sarah to accompany John to his locker. Henri then calls him to check if everything is okay, but he doesn't answer. Mark and his friends approach John and introduce themselves. When the bully walks away, John sees him hit a nerdy boy named Sam, and throw away his skateboard. He gives his skateboard back and befriends him. After school, John notices that Sam is again being bullied by Mark. Infuriated, John picks up the ball and violently throws it at one of Mark's classmates, knocking him over. He then discovers that Sarah is showing interest in him, by discreetly photographing him from a distance. That evening, John discovers a website where Sarah keeps all her photographs, including an album of photographs of him. Henri purposely deletes all of John's pictures so that he won't be seen. Meanwhile, the Mogs find out that Number 4 is still alive after discovering the burned bungalow. The next day in class, John's palms begin to emit an extremely intense beam of light, known as lumen. Henri senses something when he notices the same light in the watch, and rushes to the school. Panicked, John flees into the janitor's room, and tries to turn off the light. Henri arrives and reassures him, explaining that the light means his superpowers will begin to manifest. Upon his arrival at the mansion, Henri informs him that he will get stronger and faster, and that he must learn to control his powers. Henri tells him that he cannot return to school until he learns to control his powers. Intrigued by the power, he shows it to the dog, and then sneaks out of the house through the window. He experiments with his powers, throwing a stone that crosses the ozone layer, and performing impressively graceful jumps. In the meantime, the Mog commander buys everything he finds in the grocery store, and feeds it to strange and massive beasts. Back to John, he unexpectedly meets Sarah on the street, and takes her for a walk, during which they notice Sam with his stepfather across the street. She invites him to her home for dinner, and introduces him to her family. Her parents tell him that their daughter is very interested in photography, and advise them to go to the town's night carnival. After dinner, they go to her room. he discovers her scrapbook, which reveals that the girl doesn't like to be photographed. Unfortunately for him, his dog unexpectedly appears outside the house, barking continuously and forcing him to leave. We see the school bully jealously watching him as he walks away. The next day, Sam questions John about what happened to his hands in class, but he refuses to talk. As Sam counsels his friend to avoid Sarah, the pink paint Mark had set earlier explodes from their lockers. The paint has soiled Sam's image with his biological father, and he gets enraged, throwing himself at the bully. John's palms begin to glow again, but he manages to keep his cool and walks away. While cleaning himself in the bathroom, the nerdy boy tells him about his real father, who was obsessed with aliens and has mysteriously disappeared. Sam claims that aliens have abducted his father. John spots Sarah in the school hallway, but decides to avoid her. Henri, who has been conducting research on Sam's father, visits an old factory, where Sam's father conducted tests. There he discovers enigmatic signs on the column, and a peculiar glowing rock on the ground, known as a locator. Henri takes it home and begins to study it. Meanwhile, John is in his room, when he receives an invitation from Sarah to an event. During the Spring Scream Festival, Sarah reveals that she and Mark used to be a couple, and that Mark purposely leaked all his secrets to others after their separation. The two then embark on a creepy carriage ride through the woods. When they arrive at the next area, Hell's Gate, Mark and his friends attack them and begin beating John, while another friend kidnaps Sarah, and takes her to Mark. As Sam secretly watches them, John is forced to use his abilities. He eventually rescues Sarah, and nearly breaks Max's arm. He accompanies Sarah home, and finally gets to kiss her. He realizes that he has become stronger when he breaks a lamppost with the palm of his hand. He visits Sam's house, and reveals his true origins to him, confirming that his father was right all along. John warns him not to tell anyone, because it might put him in danger, and Sam agrees. The next day, a local sheriff, who later turns out to be Mark's father, arrives at John's house and interrogates him, accusing him of attacking his son, but John denies it, claiming that he was not paying attention. Henri feels proud of John, because he is getting used to his abilities. Soon after, a video of John screaming in pain in the ocean goes viral, and Henri advises them to leave quickly, because he cannot delete it. Since he has fallen in love with Sarah, he disobeys and refuses to go. He starts an argument with his protector, and they have a brief scuffle. Henri is kidnapped moments later, and John has to go to a specific place to rescue his protector. Together with Sam, they travel to the destination. When John arrives, he instructs Sam to follow a man, while he sneaks into the house, where he finds several newspaper articles about missing persons, and eventually discovers Henri, who is immobilized. The kidnappers turn out to be two conspiracy theorists sent by the Mogs. A Mog bursts through the door and attacks them. As John and Sam escape, Henri confronts the alien. Sam has lost the car key, and John uses his power to start the vehicle. However, before they leave, the alien appears and stabs Henri in the chest. As they drive away, Henri hands John his special knife and tracker, revealing that Sam's father used the rock to search for Lauren's surviving children. He orders John to find his own kind before he dies, as their combined powers would be enough to stop the Mogs. Unsuccessful in capturing John, the aliens arrive at the home of the conspiracy theorists, and execute them with a death device for failing. Meanwhile, local sheriffs invade John's home, and declare him a terrorist. Sarah gets suspicious, and asks her boyfriend who he really is. As they are driving, Sam confesses that he has another fragment of the rock his father discovered, while searching for aliens in Mexico. While Sam looks for Bernie, who helps him find the rock in its hiding place, John stops by Sarah's house to clear the air and say goodbye. The cops, however, arrive at the house, and corner John and Sarah on the roof. Sarah falls off the roof as she stands up. Fortunately, John uses his telekinesis power to save her. He demonstrates his skills again when he is forced to use telekinesis to pull up a police car. The two escape from the cops and go to school. Meanwhile, the Mogs arrive in a convoy of trucks, and confront Mark and his father. The commander threateningly orders Mark to take them to John. Sam tells his friend that the Mogs have surrounded the school. As the two try to escape, Number 6, also known as Jane, appears with her special weapon, and helps them fight the aliens. A fight begins, and Jane uses her quickness to eliminate two aliens. The Mogs unleash their flying lizards, and Bernie unexpectedly transforms into a scary monster that frightens Sam. Eventually the two are reunited, but the monster emerges and wreaks havoc inside the school. A wild Bernie appears and helps John fight the monster, defeating the flying lizard after a long battle, but he seems to be badly injured, and eventually transforms back into a sweet dog. Jane, who is struggling, asks John to charge her with his light, and the two proceed to fight the Mog, eventually eliminating it. John, Jane and Sam run to the soccer field, where the commander and another monster are waiting for them. Thanks to their combined skills, Jane and John quickly eliminate all the guards, and nearly kill the commander. Jane, however, is captured by the monster, and John helps her with the lamp. Eventually, Number 4 kills the commander, by a huge explosion. Both survive the explosion, thanks to Jane's fireproof abilities. The next day, they manage to connect the blue rocks, and find Lauren's remaining children. Mark unexpectedly appears, and gives John Henri's strange box. Sam joins the team, and John kisses Sarah for the last time. An injured Bernie arrives out of nowhere, and they all flee the town. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.